Hey, Bulls and Bears, it is Wednesday, October 6th, 2021. Thank you for being here. Back for another dose of economic reality today. The next financial crisis is fast approaching. That's an article here out of Market Watch. And we're going to dig into it a little bit and tell you about what they're saying here. But first, let's take a step back and just look at where we're at right now. Let's take a look at a couple recent news items. Now, first, something not so new. We've seen money printers in other countries destroy the currency. An example would be right here. We've got Zimbabwe, $100 trillion piece of paper, bill. So whatever they put on it, whatever they print on it, they say that's what it's worth. Does anyone see a problem here? And when I've given examples like this over the past, people said, oh, it can never happen here. This is the United States. We're the richest country in the world. America's different. Oh yeah, America's different, all right. In fact, America, we may be one of the last to fall, but we're already seeing the beginnings of major inflation. I don't want to say hyperinflation yet, but it could be the beginning of hyperinflation. Nobody really knows. The engineers, the drivers of this economy, they will determine what happens and how severe or how deep things fall or inflate if they want to. But look at what we've been talking about here with these currencies, and look at what's been discussed here recently in the United States, right? And I've got to come back to this because it's so outrageous. $1 trillion coin. So we were laughing at these other countries saying it could never happen here. Does anyone see maybe that we're headed in that direction when we're talking about $1 trillion coin? Okay, $100 trillion piece of paper, $1 trillion coin. Let's add a few zeros. What's it going to be next year? $100 trillion coin? I mean, give me a break. People, if you do not understand what's happening, if you don't see the direction that we're headed in the direction of a third world country. And many people would argue that we're already a third world country, and that the only reason we're not feeling the effects of it is because we have this endless, limitless credit card, also known as endless debt, endless money creation, endless borrowing, endless spending. And people say, including myself, I agree with a lot of people that are saying that we would be already feeling the effects of a third world country if it were not for this endless debt. So what happens when the debt stops? Well, that is going to be such an ugly scenario that it's even going to be hard to be able to talk about it on this channel because it's going to involve a lot of pain and a lot of suffering. So one of the points I wanted to make here is to continue to prepare, because when you see things like this and what we've seen in other countries and the pain and destruction that's evolved out of this type of monetary structure, we're not out of the woods. In fact, we're just entering the woods right now, and the dawn is not close. It's actually getting darker. We're walking into the woods at 11 p.m. and we need to try to make it out to the other side and survive until the light. If there will be some light, I'm hoping there's going to be some light at this. People say it's the darkest before the dawn. I happen to think we're just at the beginning of this crisis that may be headed our way. All right, now let's talk about this article. Now, headlines like this, catch my eye. I'm sure they may catch your eye. The next financial crisis is fast approaching. All you have to do is read the first line here. Central banks need to prepare because global stock markets and real estate are overvalued. Well, the stock market and real estate's been overvalued for decades. It doesn't mean that there's a financial crisis around the corner. Now, you could argue that it's already here for millions of people. Again, tens of millions that can't pay their rent. Most of the U.S. population that's in some sort of debt and will never get out of debt. So the question, if and when there'll be a financial crisis, well, to many it's already here. Maybe not to you, but to many it is. But the fact that things are overvalued, and it talks about the stock market and real estate, doesn't mean that it can't go higher. And that's the really scary part about this that I really want to get all of you to understand. Just because there's a bubble doesn't mean they can't blow it up even bigger, right? There's an endless printing press back there. They can prop up the markets. If the average homeowner can no longer afford their payment, there's institutions that can come in that have access to the Fed window. They can come in and buy unlimited amounts of homes. They can keep home prices rising. Markets can be propped up to infinity, all the way into hyperinflation. That's what I want you to know. No one can predict what these people are going to do, what's happening behind the scenes. Or maybe you can. If you can, let us know down below exactly, the date that all this is going to drop, or let us know when the US is really going to feel the effects of the third world country status. All right, a few other news roundup items here. Yellen is out there still warning about the debt ceiling. There's still some left versus right debates happening. One side says, no, we can't spend any more money, even though the side that's saying that over the past, 2016 to 2020 ran up about $8 trillion in debt. But now that it's the other side that wants to do the spending, now they're saying, oh, we've got to cut back on the spending. We need to be conservative, right? Folks, it's all a big scam. It's all a big scam to keep us divided, left versus right. I think most of you know this by now. Right, there's still people out there upset that the previous president didn't stay in office. There's people actually upset about that. And I'm saying, look at what happened during those 4 years, 2016 to 2020. They were a disaster. The big financial meltdown, even before the big sickness came out, we had record wealth shift from the poor and the middle class to the top 10%. It was a record. The mega rich never gained as much wealth at any point in history compared to just the past years, the 4 years from 2016 to 2020. And that's the truth. That's the reality. But there's people out there still upset. No. We need to go back and, this guy's going to save us. That guy's going to save us, folks. Nobody's going to save you. You need to prepare. You are going to save yourself. Maybe say prayers as often as you can. I know I've been doing a lot more of that lately because the direction this country's going. And the fact that we need endless debt to avoid recession should tell you all you need to know. This entire monetary structure is based on never ending and never hitting a ceiling amounts of debt, borrowing, and spending, market propping, payout programs, support to all the broke people that cannot survive without payouts from the money printers. Now, speaking of deadlines and calling dates, I'm not saying this, but 2 weeks, and they're talking about October 18th is the what hits the fan date if the debt ceiling issue is not resolved. So will they kick the can temporarily, maybe print up $1 trillion coin? Who knows? You let me know again if you know down in the comments what's going to happen here. But we know just the signs are on the wall, the writing's on the wall, that this country's headed in a very, very dangerous direction. All right, real quick, let's talk about what's happening in New Zealand. They're raising interest rates for the first time in 7 years. Let's take a look. They're raising it from 0.25% to 0.5%, 0.25% increase, and the debt levels are so high that people are freaking out about that. Think about that, 0.25% increase, and people are worried because they're buried under so much debt. It's not just the United States, folks. This is a global-based debt system. Everybody's in debt, right? The entire world's in debt, countries in debt, individuals in debt, corporations in debt, city, state, local governments in debt. It's all based on debt. Continue to prepare, people. Yes, I continue to stack silver with a $22 price range. I've been stepping up my buying more. Buy some every 2 weeks. For those of you asking what I'm doing, that's still what I'm doing. Be greedy when others are fearful. When silver ran up to $28, $29, I pulled back on the buying. I still bought, but a fraction of what I usually buy. But now I'm ramping it back up at these price levels. Ultimately, you're going to see the price explode in silver. That's my opinion. Link down below if you're interested. And thanks for being here. Stay well, stay safe, stay prepared, keep stacking, stay positive. Bye for now.